Welcome back, viewers and subscribers. It's your girl, Star Flames, and we're back with another banging video. So if you're new, you guys know the deal. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, turn on your notification bell, and join the family. While you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up and help your girl out. Now guys, in this video, we're going to talk about Candace Owens reacting to Shannon Sharpe getting hit with a $50 million lawsuit. Now, in case you have missed it, Shannon Sharpe has been sued for $50 million, wherein this 20-year-old woman is accusing him of brutally sexually assaulting her repeatedly. And not only that, he basically manipulated her, threatened her, and the list goes on. No, it is this young lady who basically used tactics against Shannon Sharpe. You know those people who are into those kinky kind of stuff? So her and Shannon Sharpe had that kinky type of relationship. Shannon Sharpe will say, just like Andrew Tate and his ex-girlfriend that's now suing him, Shannon Sharpe will say stuff to her like, I'm gonna choke you, and then she will respond calm as though she has never experienced that with him before, or is just shocked by his, brutal comments. When there are text messages that Shannon Sharpe showed wherein they were communicating that kind of stuff back and forth prior to her, recording him and all of that, because I believe this young lady saw an opportunity to get a pretty penny from Shannon Sharpe because why not? She's 20. She wants to have a good life. Women out here are not being, stupid. Let me give my body to you and not want anything. Let me give you all the fun and all the fantasies, and just for a little pay when you just signed a $100 million contract. So that girl was like, hey, no, I've been making you happy. I've been, giving you access to all the holes. So you need to pay me for that. And now Candace Owens is reacting, calling him, Granddad Shannon Sharpe. And she's saying that she can't believe Shannon Sharpe got his karma so quick because, Shannon Sharpe basically called Candace Owens an idiot at one point in time when Amanda Seales was on his show, Club Shay Shay, and he basically made some unsavory comments. It wasn't brutal. I don't think it was brutal. It was more like Candace is not for the people, so we don't want her on the show. But TikTokers have been saying Shannon Sharpe is not for the people either. They've been basically calling that man like a Kanye West. He doesn't like his own people. That is what many TikTokers have been saying. But let's take a look at this clip together of Candace Owens basically, reacting to that Shannon Sharpe lawsuit and her giving her insight into the lawsuit. And then I'll get back with the rest of my commentary.
Granddad is nasty.
Liquor than five.
I'm always very upfront with you guys about my biases. And I'm going to be honest with you, I do not like Shannon Sharpe. I do not think he's a good person. It's personal for me. Okay, last year being the toughest year on my family in our entire life. And as soon as I got fired from the Daily Wire, there were certain people who I had done nothing to, who I had never spoken about, who were just like dancing on what they perceived was my grave.
Candace has given you all her butt to kiss for 2 decades. In the moment, what they do? They can't fire me. They can't fire me. The hell you say? Now look at her.
Now look at you, Mr. Shannon Sharpe. Ooh, that Candace karma comes quick. He's now in a very serious predicament because a young woman has come forward. And she's alleging that she was raped and she was threatened by Shannon Sharpe during what she is describing as a quote-unquote rocky consensual relationship. That term, a rocky consensual relationship. And I'll tell you what her story is, okay? Her story is that she was at the gym in Los Angeles back in 2023, pumping some iron. And lo and behold, here comes Shannon Sharpe. They met. Now, to be clear, she says she was just 20 years old, which I hate. I hate that a 56-year-old man is hitting on a 20-year-old at the gym. Again, not illegal, but yes, probably very immoral. I think we can all agree. Like going after young women who are younger than your daughters, it's pretty gross. He would have been 54 at the time. And from there on, the two of them start a relationship, a 2-year sexual relationship followed. Now, she's alleging that the rape element didn't occur until October of last year. And then again, so she got raped in October of 2024, and then again, allegedly this year in January. So obviously, for those of you that are following our Harvey series, that's immediately for me where I pause, because what jumps out is the persistent question that I have in these circumstances, which is what would incentivize any young woman to go back and continue relations with an alleged rapist. The plaintiff is being represented by attorney Tonybuzbee. That name sounds familiar to you. He is involved in a lot of big named suits. He's made a name for himself. Most recently, Jay-Z came out and said this guy is a shakedown artist because he was essentially trying to loop Jay-Z in with the Diddy accusers. He's representing a litany of Diddy accusers, and he made an allegation that Jay-Z had done something to a 13-year-old. I never jumped on that. I looked into it, and it sounded to me like the case sounded fraudulent to me. I didn't buy it regarding Jay-Z. And one of the things that he has done is he's immediately released audio to the public of Shannon Sharpe threatening this young woman. So now she's 22, 23. And I'm going to allow you to take a listen. I'm going to allow you guys to be the judge and jury. And we're going to take a listen to the audio that BuzzBee has decided to release. Take a listen.
You want to be a to me now, so.
I don't want to be, don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm going to choke the out of you when I see you. Thank you.
Well, I don't want to be choked.
Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter.
So you hear that and you don't have any context and you're going, okay, well, he definitely did just threaten to choke her, that he was going to choke her and that she would have no say in the matter. And she says, I don't want to be choked, right? Case closed. Or is it closed? It seems like now men are fighting fire or perceived fire with fire. And instead he posted a statement onto his Instagram, which was drafted by his lawyers. And he included text messages from this young woman. And I'm going to show you what that statement reads. Now, I'm not going to read every text message because it's quite graphic, but these are text messages that are coming, that I feel comfortable reading, that are coming from this young woman. I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're bleeping. Okay. Okay, well, that immediately suddenly makes us go, what kind of a relationship was this? And then he just names her. He's like, this woman's name is Gabriella Zuniga. This is a text message from her to Shannon Sharpe on October 7th, 2023. And then she says to him in a different text message, which is from January of this year, quote, I know you miss this big, juicy AAS. And she ends the message with $25,000 for each cheek. Very expensive cheeks. It's very expensive, very pricey. There are other examples of texts from Ms. Zuniga. For example, this one I am not comfortable reading, but basically she's asking for him to put a baby to impregnate her, I guess is the most proper way that I could say that. And it just gets increasingly more graphic about how she wants to have a black baby, his black baby, to be sure. And so they're sharing this, and it, like I said, this is why you have to wait for the full context of it. And it doesn't make like Shannon Sharpe an amazing person. I think he's gross. And I do not understand these sorts of relationships where people are craving violence. But you can imagine if you are with a girl, and I'm not saying this is the circumstance, we'd have to read through everything in its entirety. And she's got these like rape-like violent turn-ons or kinks, and you guys are into this together. And then one day you're set up and she's recording everything and removing it from its context because she knows that the average member of the public is not going to read this as anything other than just violence. Well, then you have somebody who is indeed trying to con you and trying to extort you for money. We don't know, okay? What I can tell you is that in addition to this, Shannon himself posted a public video statement on X. So I'm going to allow you to listen to his response to her lawsuit.
This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by tonybuzbee, who has targeted Jay-Z. tonybuzbee targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and tonybuzbee want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down.
So here's my take. I think it is probably true that he was set up. I think it is probably true that this young woman wanted money. I think it's probably true that she intentionally engaged in this sort of, I don't even know what to call this kind of kink. Is it like bestiality? I don't know what people are into these days. Okay, I've aged out. I should really be referring to myself as a grandma. But I will also say this. These people put themselves into these scenarios, right? And again, over and over again, we are seeing Shannon Sharpe in these sorts of scenarios and continually having to make these sorts of statements so that he can ironically or unironically preserve his job and his reputation. How about just behaving well behind the scenes? How about not being a 56-year-old man that hits on people at the gym to avoid these sorts of circumstances? It's hard to feel bad for him, but of course, in the courtroom, it's not about who you feel bad for or whether or not you think he's a moral man. It is about whether or not you believe that Shannon Sharpe raped this young woman. And with what I've seen in terms of the text messages thus far, I do not believe that it is likely that this was a rape scenario. It does look like a shakedown to me. And that's difficult for me to say as someone who does not appreciate this man whatsoever.
So guys, there you have it. Candace Owens was being so honest and so fair to Shannon Sharpe after what he did to her. And that is what I've always loved and admired about Candace Owens, because she's saying, even though we see those, we hear that audio, when you look at the text message, you can see that they definitely had a kinky type of relationship going on. But what this young lady, Gabby, knows is that she is a white woman, and, the court of public opinion is going to bite into all the stereotypical, thing. So as such, she knew darn well what she was doing. And I believe that you could literally see her playing this out. Also, she said that, Shannon Sharpe had wanted to settle for $10 million. But if Shannon Sharpe wanted to settle for $10 million, she should have taken it. But that could also be a fabricated lie. Now, as I've said to you guys initially, when Busby said that he had the tape, I said you could literally tell that she set up all of that because she had a plan. And my concern is, if you have so much evidence and you want to release a 50-second portion of it, that is defamation. And tonybuzbee is aiming for defamation, which is going to get him in trouble, because you cannot just put out a few seconds of a clip that makes an innocent individual looks guilty. That is character assassination within itself. So as such, tonybuzbee is going to have a lot to deal with in this lawsuit and the lawsuit against Jay-Z. When I told you guys that this man is literally Tyrone Blackburn, I believe you all can see it now. In December, I said to you guys that tonybuzbee is a con man with a con plan, and many people were so offended by my statement. But I guess you all now owe me an apology, because you guys have seen tonybuzbee lying and not being able to keep up with his lies consistently. And this is another one of those lies where he has a tape that proves something, but he will never ever submit that tape. Remember that polygraph test for his accuser, that VMA bandit? And it hasn't been submitted. And when he had to drop the lawsuit because he didn't receive the necessary submission to practice in the Southern District of New York, do you remember that he made a post on Instagram trying to convince us that, oh, but I have been submitted to practice. And the internet was like, no, Tony, we're not slow. We're educated. The Southern District of New York doesn't constitute all the jurisdiction in New York. That's the Southern District of New York. And the document that you're putting up does not constitute that or prove that you have been admitted to practice in the Southern District of New York. You can practice elsewhere, but not the Southern District of New York. So these are the mind games that tonybuzbee has been playing with the public. And do you know who else he plays these mind games with? His clients. And this is why some of his past clients are coming forward with lawsuits against him. And I believe that he needs to be held accountable for all the salacious things that he does. And I'm not talking about those little tricks that attorneys use because, you know, you really have to be tricky. You really have to be savvy as an attorney. But tonybuzbee goes beyond that. He goes below the belly. He does the things that really are unacceptable as a seasoned attorney, and that is what is going to get him into trouble. But as I've said, I really do appreciate Candace Owens' delivery on this, irrespective of the fact that she's saying, hey, I don't like this guy, but she can give him justice where justice is due. And these are my type of gal. But what about you guys? Leave a comment below. While you're at it, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Do all you need to do on this video to help your girl out. Peace.